Hey guys, it's Gwen, and today we're making a spacesuit. We just made an Among Us musical and we needed 6 different colored spacesuits. I was going to just dye them. That didn't exactly work as planned. What color would you say this is? Because it's supposed to be forest green. So at the last minute, I ended up having to sew all of our spacesuits. Kind of ran out of time for the last one. Job's not done. I'd kind of like to finish. So guess what we're doing today? Plus, you guys left some interesting comments about our costumes, which made me want to try a few new things.
To make a spacesuit, you need some bright colored fabric, some stretchy fabric, some kind of spacey fabric, elastic, thread, buckles, straps, ribbon, and some cool patches, if you think patches are cool. And then you need a pattern. I'm gonna use this wrong colored spacesuit, but you can use a hoodie and pants pinned together, or pajamas, or anything that's oversized and has arms and legs. First thing, I pinned the seams of my pattern to make it flat-ish and laid it out on my fabric, left to get some water, and discovered the fourth law of feline dynamics. A cat may choose to resist the draw of something soft on the floor if there is no human nearby to annoy with its gravitational event. I pinned along the seams of my pattern and cut out identical pieces, except I made them about an inch bigger on all sides. That's important, guys. If you've never used a piece of clothing as a pattern before, it's not as hard as it looks, but you can always practice on something simple if it seems daunting. Like this shirt I'm wearing. It would look pretty good in another pattern. Just cut out a front and back, run it through the sewing machine a couple times, add some trim, boom! New favorite shirt. Okay, I'll stop procrastinating. Now that I had the front cut out, I used it as a pattern to cut 2 more pieces for the back. I made it a bit bigger in the leg, the shoulders, and the rear area, because, and I don't know if you know this, but your back is a little bit bigger than your front. If you were left with any doubt that Mr. Meows might be helpful when it comes to making costumes, maybe he stopped these scraps from killing me. Maybe he just rescued me from the ghost hiding under them? I don't think I'm haunted, but on my space station, everybody gets pockets. I decorated my pockets with ribbon stripes. Next time we'll try ruffles or daisies or brain slugs. After sewing on my stripes, I sewed the top edges of both squares down to make a clean edge. Now they're ready to be pockets. I laid my front pieces out flat and threw all my decorations on them. Perfect! I mean, it's a look. It's also a look if you place your pockets evenly and cut your straps so they run from shoulder to waist with the buckles crossing the center. Whichever you like best. I really don't judge. You can even add those patches now if it makes you happy. I pinned everything securely, and then I unpinned everything, and then I pinned it again. It's kind of the sewing cha-cha. But as a side note, nothing is permanent unless you've already used the scissors, even after you sew it down, so feel free to move everything around until you're happy. After I made the front pieces pretty, I took the 2 back pieces and pinned them together to make them one back piece. It strikes me while I'm editing this that this all used to be one piece. I slashed it up, and now I'm just, I don't know, trying to put it all back together? Something seems suspect here. I'm trying to put my finger on it. While I sewed them together, Mr. Meows continued to support the ghosts have gotten into my sewing supplies theory, which is weird because I just bought that thread like 2 hours ago. Ghosts move fast. Did you get him, Mr. Moose? Hey look, it's got legs! I continued putting the fabric back together by pinning the 2 front pieces to the back piece, one on either side. This costume is now huge-ish, approximately the size of a deflated space yeti. Usually when I pin this seam, I would leave this bit open for a sleeve, but I heard you guys questioning why we had arms in the musical. I heard you say that the Among Us astronauts don't have arms, even though there's some evidence that they have hands. But let's go with it. I pinned the entire seam shut, and then I sewed from the neckline all the way down to the foot. A long, long seam. It seemed to stretch into eternity. A rippling of time and space in the whir and glare of my sewing machine. A journey of 1,000 inches. A journey from which I may never return, and if I should return, I question how I could ever pick up the threads of an old life. Whew, okay, time to do it again. If I just stopped here, I would have a pretty epic cape. Maybe I'm a space villain? Maybe it's me, Grandmama Anastasia. I cut out a long, thin strip about 3 inches wide, and I forget how long. Longer than my leg. Probably too long to make a proper belt, but we'll fix it later. I pinned both sides in so it can be a more elegant belt with finished edges. This is how I get called to dinner. I think these 2 are made of literal sunshine. I ate a lot of spaghetti and pinned the belt along the waistline, making sure it overlapped the straps on either side. Mr. Meows did his ghost thing. The ghost seems harmless, dude. I'm gonna name him Ralph. Then I sewed down both sides of the belt and left the ends open. Remember how this thing has legs? It's time to pin them into tubes and sew them up. At the bottom of each leg, I rolled the hem up twice and pinned it in place, then sewed it almost completely shut but left a little hole at the end to thread some elastic through. I don't know why I find this whole safety pin elastic thing so satisfying, but if I could do this for 8 hours a day, I would get really bored. This hyperbole got away from me, but I do really like it. I sewed the elastic into a loop and then sealed it up. I totally forgot to tell you earlier, but you're going to need a zipper. I know it's super rude of me, half of you are going to be stuck here. Maybe you could use duct tape? Wait, on my space station, everyone gets zippers. What? It worked with the pockets. I sewed the zipper to both sides of the front opening. I pinned the collar into place, which I didn't show you how to make because I kind of just stole it off the failed suit to save time. But if you want to make it, just cut out something roughly this shape and about 4 soda cans long.
I'm not drinking all of these.
I was like, we need to talk. We have a problem.
It's only a problem if I get caught. Next, some of you guys noticed that we didn't have backpacks in the musical. We can fix that too. I cut a long rectangle about the size of a toddler's sleeping bag, then cut what was left in half, tapered them into 2 flat-top triangles, which are called trapezoids. Crazy long trapezoids, which is the name of my new band. I pinned each edge of the big piece around one trapezoid, making a bag shape, and then pinned straps to what would be the front of the bag. Does it need straps? Kind of, yes, otherwise I don't know how you're going to sew it to your suit. Also, on my space station, everyone gets straps. I sewed all of that, and sewed the top of the bag shut too, except for this little hole, which is entirely too little. Do yourself a favor and leave yourself more space, because turning this thing right side out was a whole struggle bus. Felt pretty good when I won though. Then I filled the whole bag with cotton stuffing. If you're thinking this would make a great pillow, yeah, now I'm wishing that we had backpacks during the musical. Would have made napping between shots so much easier. I sewed that last little bit shut, and then it was time to go find my partner in crime. Hey baby, I made something for you.
You made me clothes to wear?
If you give an AJ an astronaut suit, he will want a yard to play in. And if you give him a yard to play in,
Maybe we should try something easier.
Okay.
Can you please connect 2 of those wires? Can you input the code, which is our anniversary? I need you to swipe this card.
Give me a second.
Okay.
This would be easier if our anniversary was like 0000 or something.
I think the game wants you to do it slower.
I'm gonna go be the imposter. I'm just gonna fake it like this.
can we all agree that sleeves would be nice? Tasks are hard enough. I don't even know how to throw imposters off the ship if you can't use your hands. Do you just body check each other toward the airlock? I pinned my pattern sleeve to my fabric and was visited by the wrong cat. The other cat would have just curled up in my lap. This cat can't sit still, so she knocked all my pins over. I cut out 2 sleeves because that's how many arms I have, but you can cut out however many you have. 1, 3, 6, but if you cut out 6, you look pretty sus. I know we made the right decision about sleeves because when you lay them out, they're kind of coffin-shaped, which is perfect for Halloween. I needed to cut the armhole shape in my suit, so I laid it out again and followed the seam line of the failed suit, which saved me the trouble of tearing out the original seam too. Woot woot! I love how these things work out. Then I needed 2 rectangles out of this stretchy cloth, long enough to wrap around my wrist and wide enough to fold double and make a good cuff for my sleeve. I could have stolen the cuffs off the old suit too, but I ripped them when I tried, so here we go. I pinned them to the bottom of the sleeve, stretching it much farther than I realized it could stretch. Color me impressed. This stuff was made for Elastigirl or Mr. Fantastic or... are there other stretchy superheroes? I sewed the cuffs to the sleeve and then the sleeves to the suit. I sewed the sleeve into a tube, celebrated having the use of my arms, and got out the last of the elastic. Since I didn't know how long my belt was in the first place, I had to measure the elastic like this, and cut myself a piece about 6 inches shorter than I needed to wrap around the suit. I threaded the elastic through the inside of the belt, pinned it on either side, and sewed the belt closed. Hello, finished suit! Finally, I purchased a helmet from the Halloween store near us, popped the visor off, and painted it to match the suit. Sort of. It's close. Now I just have to decide what to put on my head.
Thank you for sticking around to see how I made this spacesuit. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell so you don't miss a single video we upload. If you haven't seen our Among Us musical, you can watch it there. And if you haven't seen the other costumes I put together, you can watch them over there.